you're not traveling to the Amalfi Coast this summer, make the lemon cake. It's going to bring you there just with a bite. Stay tuned for the recipe. Hello everybody, this is Alessandra. Welcome to my home, welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making a simple, delicious cake. Everything I make simple, delicious. Anyway, this one is true and tried, so you please make it. It's going to be anywhere from Sorrento to Positano to Amalfi lemon cake. This is a very typical cake you eat in the region I was born in Italy. So let's get started. Simple ingredients that you probably have at home, and looks like it's really actually not that much, but you know I go step by step. Also, this recipe is from Italy, so it is in grams. I did convert all the measurements as accurate as I could, but if you can and you have a scale, do use the scale. You will definitely get a better result with the baking. Now let's get started. Right here I have, let's look at the table. Okay, I have 4 eggs, 2 lemons. We're going to use the zest in the cake and then the juice to make a syrup that we're going to wet the cake. And you'll see, stay tuned. I'm so excited. Made it already a few times this week and it's been incredible. Right here I have 300 grams of flour, about 2 1/4 cup. Then I have a cup of sugar, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, quarter teaspoon of salt. And the reason why I'm using salt is because I'm using unsalted butter. If your butter is salted, don't use it. I have a stick and a half of butter, very, very soft. I left it out a good couple hours. And right here I have a 1/2 cup of oat milk. You could use a 2% milk too, it's not a problem. Now, on this side I kept it separate because it's going to be for the syrup. We have water, sugar, 1/2 cup, and then the juice of these 2 lemons we're going to add to that. So the first thing right here, sorry, forgot. I like to use a Bundt cake. It looks very pretty. I have this nice, heavy, old-fashioned one. Love it. But the first thing we're going to do is cream the butter with the sugar. But before I do that, I want to show you something. Before I remove the butter, don't discard it right away. What I do, I use this paper to go ahead and coat the bottom of the Bundt cake. Okay? If it's not enough, go ahead and grab a tablespoon out of the fridge and make sure you all the creases of the Bundt cake, make sure you get the butter in because you don't want the cake to stick. Because if it sticks, you know what happens. I'm using a pastry brush also to go ahead and coat all the creases. Oven on 350, it really comes together quickly. So we're going to add the super soft butter and the sugar. And I'm going to be using a paddle attachment to get it all creamed. Cream it on medium speed. You'll see, I'll show it to you what it needs to look like before we proceed. The remaining dry ingredients, we're going to mix them together. The flour, the baking powder, and the salt. Go ahead and zest the lemons. Just zesting the lemon is already making me dream of eating a piece of this cake. Make sure you don't go too deep because you don't want the white part, which is bitter. Go ahead and just add the lemon zested. If I can get it not to slip, I'm going to go ahead and juice the lemons. And what you're going to do is going to keep it on a side. If you don't, I've measured it already. It's about 1/2 cup of lemon juice. If it's a little bit less, it's okay too. Look how beautiful and light it is in color. Can you see it? I hope so, right? Okay, so now what we're going to do is bring it up again to medium speed, and we're going to add the eggs one at a time. Once you add the first egg, what you want to do is make sure that's well incorporated before continuing to the next egg. Because if you just add a more, fai una frittata, non va bene. Una alla volta e si devono assorbire. One at a time, and it needs to be absorbed. See the mixture? It looks a little lumpy. Don't worry, it's fine. Just add the milk a little at a time. See, it looks like it curled, but don't worry because the measurements are so precise that it's gonna just come together in this beautiful batter. You'll see. Okay, remove the paddle. Let's sift the ingredients, and I'll tell you why you must not skip this step. First of all, the sifted flour give it lightness, but the baking powder always tends to get little balls, and if you just add it in, once it hits the wet ingredients, those balls will not dissolve, and that's what happens when you have a piece of cake and you have that bitter taste. It's because the baking powder has not dissolved. Anyway, long story short, I hate the extra step. I like to keep it simple, but it must be sifted. So add the flour right in, all of it. Okay, see the bottom? You see that? That's the baking powder and some of the pieces of the flour. So just go ahead with your fingers like this. And now it's all in the way it needs to be. Back on low speed. If you put it on high speed, the flour is gonna fry. Not fry, the flour is gonna fly. And if you wanna come closer, take a look how it's gonna come together. And voila, look at that gorgeous, gorgeous dough. Look at that batter. Isn't it beautiful? Let's get the batter evenly in the Bundt cake pan. Smooth it out with the spatula because it is a thick batter. And let's get in the oven at 350 for about 50 minutes. While the cake is cooking, we're going to add in a medium small saucepan the water, the lemon juice, and the sugar. And I'm going to bring it over to the stove, bring it to a boil, and then we'll check on it in a little bit. It's a beautiful rolling boil, and let it boil. I'll time it, and so you'll know exactly how long it's got to cook. Bubbles form, you know that the water is evaporated, the liquid, so it's nice and thick. Okay, I'm going to show you in a measuring cup how much it has reduced. There you go. It's half a cup. It's perfect. It has reduced by half. It's nice and thick. Now, if we don't use it all to base the cake, save it. You could use it in your iced tea or in your water to make a lemonade. But I'm gonna set it on the side, and then I'll show you what's next. 50 minutes in, and look at the beautiful color. I'm also going to test it with the skewer. Yeah, completely dry. So now what you're gonna do with the skewer is just make some holes on the very top. If you want to come closer, take a look. Just make some holes all along. Yeah. Okay. Take a look at the syrup, how nice and thick it is. So now with a spoon, what we're going to do is just so ever gently drizzle the top. And if you could get the syrup to go into the little holes you made, that will be perfection. Gently, gently, slowly. Because you want it to just let the sponge cake absorb it without giving it too much. So it's got to do its thing. And I waited a little bit. It wasn't extremely hot when the syrup cooled down, of course, and the cake was also 10 minutes out of the oven. Okay, this is the part you gotta say a little prayer that it didn't stick. Okay, let's go. Okay, yeah. All right, just a little spot there came off. It's perfect. Let's slide it over on the serving plate. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish drizzling at the bottom side the rest of the syrup. The moment of truth. Come closer because I want to open this up together because this cake is crazy, moist and soft and just really delicious. Look at that. Look at the inside. Look at that. The best part of the video when I get to taste the things I make. Oh. Incredibilmente delizioso. Incredibly delicious. Please make the recipe. Hit the subscribe button. Share the recipe with all your friends and family. Grazie. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Grazie. Alla prossima. Arrivederci. And let's keep cooking together. Ciao, ciao.